Hi guys, welcome back to another week of New Girl Thursdays. This is our third time doing this. And thank you guys so much for watching these and commenting on them. It's nice that you're interacting and I don't feel like we're just talking into a void. It's been pretty cool to actually interact with some more Instagram followers, and glad that you guys are enjoying these. Really quick, tomorrow we're going to have a pretty cool announcement about a new project that our production company has coming up. Kind of like a little bonus thing, so stay tuned on our Instagram for that tomorrow. Yeah, good things. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get Aurora on here if I can. Maybe. I'm always afraid I'm doing this wrong. Oh, I'm waiting. Okay. Okay, yay!
Yay!
Like, am I pushing the wrong button? Am I am I doing this right?
I know, that's what I keep asking myself every single time. I'm kind of like, all right, at any second it will work and it will be great. But in the meantime, I'm going to try not to stress too much.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I have had for years, people make fun of me, like a fear of going accidentally on either Instagram or Facebook Live, like in the middle of a private conversation or something. And so I'm always like, oh, I don't want to do that now that we're, none of us can actually see each other. I was like, well, this is the only way.
Yep, now you got to just yank off that Band-Aid and do it.
Bite the bullet and do it. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I actually got chores done today. Actually drove and got things done. So always a good day.
Yeah, it feels like any day where you accomplish stuff right now is like an extra. Yeah.
Total win. Yeah.
Like I feel really adult that I got my stuff together.
You're like, I did my stuff in the morning. I did things like checked them off my to-do list. Yeah. Doesn't matter that they were from last week. Doesn't matter. Sure. But they're checked off.
It's tough. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, the world is like ending. So like doing anything right now is like
big
ups to you. Okay. So I'll have you kind of introduce yourself and talk about how you were involved with the film and how we met. And I know you talked a little bit about this last week on Charlie's live. That was kind of fun for me because I had forgotten some of it too. Yeah. So I'll let you take it away with that.
So hi, I'm Aurora Culver. I also go by Rory. So if any of my friends tune in, you'll know who I am, I guess. I'm a theater director and film director. I've been directing theater since 2004, 2005, something like that. Was a crazy person who right out of college started my own theater production company. So there's a lot of people that I still work with that started doing shows with me all the way back then, which is pretty fun. Currently live in Los Angeles, but that original theater company was founded in Orange County. So I've been kind of all over the place in Southern California. So Long Beach, all the way to San Juan Capistrano, up in Pasadena, and down to Laguna Hills. So those are all places I've directed shows, which is kind of fun. Yeah. And let's see, what else? I'm an odd job person, so directing's my career, is my passion, but directing projects only takes up this much time of the year. All the rest of it is kind of doing a lot of freelance in theater and in film, which means I'm not doing a lot of work right now. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Interesting times. And so why don't you talk a little bit about what you did on New Girl and how we...
So theater background is where I came from first. I was just getting ready to dip my toe in the water for film. I had just started working on a bunch of different jobs, very much learning on the job when it came to being on the production side, lighting side, everything. A lot of it overlaps with theater, but sometimes it's just a matter of, do I know these words? When someone says, go grab that, do you know what it is? And around that time, a friend of mine saw Laura's post. She was looking for directors to the New Girl. The original idea was going to be 10 different directors, I think. And we all kind of came in, met with Laura, gave her pitches. But the thing for me was I'd researched it, read a little bit more about the piece, realized it was a theater piece. And my biggest thing of interest was asking Laura, okay, here's my pitches for these little things. what's your idea for the whole thing? Like, how do you see the theater element of it coming together? And I was like, this is where I can be helpful. This is my strong suit. So it was, like I said to Charlie, it was one of those times where I was like, cool, you got some balls. You actually pitched yourself right. And you were like, these are your strengths. This is where you want me. Yeah. So Laura brought me in. I got to be director of performance, working with Adriana and Amelia, where they were like, okay, visually, this is what I want. And then me talking about like, but this is the emotional journey of what's going on. And the three of us kind of coming together to really hit everything and make sure it all worked, while I was also working with all the actors, except one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. I always forget that. Yeah, it's funny because it ended up being really about the theater performances. Yeah. We kind of like changed gears, and we were originally going to like re-fundraise and like make those shorts to go with each one, and just realized that it kind of worked as this almost like a stand-up special. So yeah, you're such a huge part of the finished film, because you're like, all of these great performances are, because of you, which is really fun. And I loved that you had that theater background, because it was also something that I was looking for when I cast the actresses, was that they kind of came from, like, they knew film, but they had kind of started out in theater, and so that they would be comfortable, because it is sort of like a unique performance situation. It's like a lot of pressure on them. It's like you for 15 minutes. And it was so cool on set, I remember, because I was thinking when I was watching Charlie's thing, you did a rehearsal day that I was supposed to be at with the actors, and I was sick. I had like a 24-hour flu, and it was so annoying because I really wanted to, like, that's my favorite. I was like, but it ended up being really cool because on set, like, everyone came in and like was so prepared and so amazing. Yeah. But that's you know what I mean? Like, you like had worked with them and gotten them to the point where like they were shooting in 3 hours, like this whole thing. I think a huge part of it is just like this movie so much is very much all the different key elements. You did a brilliant job with casting. Every single one of those actresses brought their A game. And then I got to be there for like helping with that performance. But there's not a single part that I could be like, without this key element, it would have been as successful. Well, it's interesting, because we had, I felt like Adriana and Amelia kind of came from this like AFI background and like brought in those like visual elements really well, and like they really hadn't had the theater kind of experience. So it was kind of an interesting, we've been talking a lot, Sam and I are like getting sort of like press type stuff together, and we were talking a lot about just how you adapt something stage to screen. And for this, we shot off of the play. Like, we didn't have a screenplay. So it really was like filmed theater, but with like a film view. So it was an interesting thing, and it's kind of cool, like, that you came from theater and it was sort of your first like film thing, because it was a little bit of both, really.
It was really, I think the fun thing for me, especially watching it when we finally got to like be seeing the premiere. And there's so many things where I go for myself as a director. I've got a lot of confidence in working with actors with telling a story. But, theater's my background. So it's like, how much of that is going to come across with film? And I think for me, getting to see the final product was the biggest boost and acknowledgement for me, because I was like, okay, you do know what you're doing with working with actors. Those things still work. Those things still parallel. Their performances frickin', bring the house down. Like, seriously, every single one of them. I know. I know I cheated and watched Amelia's interview, and so I was like, how am I supposed to choose them? I'm like, I can't. They're all my baby.
Of course. Yeah. I know. I'm reframing that question now. Because I know I can't really, like, when I answer it, I feel bad, because everybody, I mean, they really are. And this is one of my favorite, several people, not that many people have seen the film outside of like our premiere, just a few other people like along the way. But one of the comments that I've gotten consistently from people who are totally new to it is that they think it's a documentary. Yeah. And like, I think that's such a compliment to the actresses and to you, and like how real the performances feel. They're like, was this like, did you just film these women reading? And I'm like, that's so great. Like, I love that you think That's
And
awesome.
see, and another like key element for just how much it's like, how do you even like take out all the integrated parts? Because such a huge part of that is Samantha's writing.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
she between it is not something where it was like, here's my first draft, we're doing this thing. It was very much something that you can tell the work that's gone into it, from previous performances, from different workshops. Like, it comes through because every single one of those women sounds true to that person. They don't sound like they're coming from the same voice. They each of them have their own like heart, and it's so powerful. And I think that's one of the things that each one of those actresses, that's why they were just able to go, I'm making this, so real.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting too, because the first time I saw the play was the first time Sam workshopped it in LA.
Wow.
I want to say it was like 10 years ago now. I mean, it's been a while. And I immediately thought, oh, this would be awesome as a film. And then it took like 5 or 6 years before that actually like materialized into anything else. But
that sounds about like real life though. So, movies tend to take forever.
But yeah, and then I've seen it probably I know she's seen it with like 15 different casts. I think I've seen it with 3 or 4 now. And it is always, I mean, that is another thing about the writing. It is always a different watch, and always really good. One thing that was interesting though, that Sam and I both said about the way the film came out was that it ended up being a much kind of more serious and darker kind of feel than the play ends up being. The play is really, you get a ton of like laughs and stuff, and it actually really worked. And I think that was your influence a lot too, was that I think the transition from it being theater to film, it almost needed that extra little like darkness and like grounded. Whereas in the play, it's a little bit more like boisterous. And so that was sort of an interesting thing and kind of fun. I was almost glad I wasn't at the rehearsal because I was really surprised on set. There were a few people because I don't really believe in auditions. Like, I hate it. And so I didn't really audition them. Like a few, like Charlotte I had never met. Lauren had never acted on camera before. So I was like, I'll have them make a tape or whatever. And then I ended up watching like 3 seconds of the tapes and was like, they're great. Like, I just can't even, it makes me uncomfortable. I feel bad making people audition. But so it was when they came on set and they were all so amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, what a lovely
Girl, do the
surprise.
thing.
Like, I wasn't, prepared for how awesome that they would be. So thank you for that too, because that's definitely your influence. And also we have to talk about how you're an award-winning director.
I know, since apparently that's the thing. Seriously, I think part of it is so much of what I know for Academy Awards is when a film wins Best Picture, for example, it goes to the producer.
Right.
So for some reason, when I was looking at that, I was like, oh, okay, that's a producer award.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize either, to be honest, because I was like, it's like in the main category. And then I was like, oh, there's names on that, which is great. I mean, they're supposed to be sending me certificates and all that stuff. So we'll see. And I hope that the world like allows us to go in September. I'm not all that optimistic, but it would be really nice to go.
It would be cool.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, if nothing else, maybe they'll do like hey, for that event, we're gonna do it halfway through the year, the following year or something.
Yeah, like but either way, it's so nice to like get recognition, especially for like y'all and Skylar and Hillary, our editor. We were so like over the moon. That's just like, also for me, like as a producer, that's like my favorite thing. It's just like other people, like I'm like, oh yes.
You're getting to see all the people you pulled together get acknowledgement for their work. It's really
rewarding. Yeah, it really is. There's nothing, and I even like, going to the premiere and thankfully we were able to do the the Chinese theater before the world shut down, and that was just so special. And that was really nice to like get to see everybody see it on the big screen, and
that
do all
for me
stuff.
Was probably the craziest, because I totally remember my first time ever going to Hollywood as a kid and like, getting to walk through that area. And I think it was after we'd parked our cars and we were walking over there, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's playing here.
Yeah.
Like my
I
brain finally caught up.
volunteered for AFI for like a ton of years for their festival, and would like work that specific theater so many times. So I was like having an out of body experience, and I think Amelia too. She was telling me last week that she was crying and stuff. That area, it feels like, okay, this is really cool. Like, sometimes you get like a good moment.
It's really exciting because it's like you don't get to. I mean, first off, getting to see it on a big screen was awesome. It's like, wait, what? Like this is real. This isn't real life. This is fake, you know. But yeah, no, it was really.
It looks different too because we did our cast and crew premiere, and it's like that was like a projector, and I was like, okay, I'm glad that we get to see it like on an actual screen. And it also, I've been testing out the for VOD, the TV quality, and it looks great on TV. I'm like,
oh, good, yay,
we're good. Oh, you're being good and responding to people. That's
I know.
Good.
Well, one of my friends signed on, so I was like, hi, Katie.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you other questions.
Yeah.
What have you been doing to stay sane during the 2020 whatever's on now?
I mean, surviving is big. Trying to. Oh man, I think the number one unintentional good thing, but not what I wanted to do, was really be doing a lot of mental self-care. So that has been probably the biggest. There's definitely a lot of times where I'm kind of going, all right, I didn't really want to work on this right now, but we have all this time, so okay.
When.
So, I mean, between that, having, I think knowing so many people are going through the same thing is huge. Whether that's, I mean, just in general, what's going on in the world, or a little bit more fine-tuned with other performers, and just seeing, you know, okay, how is everyone surviving? How is everyone staying connected? What are they doing? Are they doing art? For the first month, I didn't want to look at anything theater or film at all. I was like, okay, what other art forms are there? I need to do something creative. So I was like, I'm going to bake. Not great, but okay.
Oh no, you look like you made some good stuff. I saw that.
Oh yeah, but my loaves right now. I actually was messaging one of my friends. I was like, "How do you do bread?" Have not.
I've struggled as well. I did some flatbread that was pretty good, but anytime I try to do any
the rise,
it goes a different direction. Yeah.
Okay, I have plans. You know, at this point, it's kind of like little Miss Perfectionist is kicking in, and I'm like, I'm going to nail this. It doesn't matter if I don't do it again, as long as I get it right one time. Okay. So been doing that, and then, I mean, truthfully, what I should be doing is working even more on what kind of creative art can I do either by myself or in this new medium. So theater again and film as a crossover. I 2 weeks ago put together a group where we did a production of Taming of the Shrew, gender swap. And we, for the most part, recorded in like huge chunks. So it was very much the actors doing their performance the first time through. But I did take the time to kind of edit it together a little bit. And then we put it online with the actors then jumping into the comments on YouTube, so that everyone was experiencing the show together for the first time. It was like, because for me, the biggest thing for theater is the community experience. Yeah. So that was a way for me to go, all right, how can we use the resources we have, acknowledge our limitations, and make that a thing? So it was very much a theater piece on video call. So our actors are, you know, using their phones as if they're on Instagram Live, or at their computers like they're working and talking to their boss and stuff like that. You named it. We tried playing around with it. Sometimes it was like, yeah, that was really good. And sometimes it was like, that was weird, but it was still fun. And it was great because I went into it going, this is an experiment. I'm not trying to make it perfect. I'm trying to get us out there doing something. So it was really cool. And had to teach myself editing. So, you know, I've been like dragging my heels on that one. So it was kind of like, all right, now you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
definitely a good time to pick up new skills.
yeah, yeah. That I've got like a couple different short films that I have that I do need to edit, and then I've got some short films that I want to create. So right now it's very much okay, this is what you have. How can you play in this box? What can you
Yeah.
create?
Yeah. I think limitations can be
Oh,
good, like I get kind of like creatively turned on by that, but it is also, I feel like everything right now feels harder. It's like you're swimming through
yeah,
molasses just to like get yourself motivated. If I can
yeah.
get motivated and like start, it goes well. But the process between like here and there is,
Yeah, it's definitely, again, it's kind of goes back to the mental work. A big part of it is, a lot of patience and forgiveness for yourself first. And then, I know it's been funny. There's been so many times I felt like I was struggling and needed to talk to a friend. And, I'm beating myself up as I'm talking to them going, oh my gosh, like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And they're like, look, everyone's struggling. It's okay. Like everyone's struggling. Don't think everyone's doing really great and succeeding right now. Everyone's trying their best. And truthfully, if we can avoid, falling to just being full of hate or fear, if we can find ways to channel that energy into, okay, how can I make a difference? Or how can I take care of myself? Or those kind of things, then that's where we will succeed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Next question. All right. This is my reframed. Which of the monologues in the movie resonated with you the most personally?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now you don't have to pick a favorite.
No, I like that one. Oh, I think two. So Kelly's is definitely really important for me because um my parents split when I was young. And to see a woman who, has had this relationship, who has this family, and who's turning her fear of being alone into looking around at her blessings, acknowledging them, and then making that her strength. And it's that one's definitely one that at the end, every time working with Kelly in her performance, I'm like, just yes, every single time. I can't not. Yeah, just every time. And then oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the watermelon monologue. I'm forgetting the character's name. Sheila's. Yes. That one is probably the even when we were working on it, even though it wasn't something where like at that time I was in the process for like trying to have kids or anything. I have a lot of friends that are around my own age, at different stages of I do want kids, I don't want kids, I can't have kids. I have a lot of friends who've dealt with infertility. And Sheila's monologue to me, I mean, I am someone who wants to be a mom one day. It is definitely one that speaks to a lot of my own personal fears. And it's probably the one, like, I've got a really great relationship with my husband. That's not going to be the problem. But her as a woman dealing with, I think this is what's going to make me me, and having that denied her. And then how does she come through that on the other side? She not only doesn't have a kid, she also loses her husband. So who is she after that? Who is she through that? And I love that she turns that, again, that's another one of those ones where here's someone with huge, immense pain. And she starts to love herself. She starts to turn that strength, that faith towards, you know what, like, this is what I have control over. This is me. How do I, what do I do to be better, to become a stronger person? And yeah, that one's just really, really powerful every time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one where like she could have easily kind of gone like the bitter route. She finds this like humor and grace in it that's really cool. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah. that is true that she does. I mean, don't get me wrong, she definitely has that joy
Right. She's
of
got
like,
her, she's got her moment. But
she's human.
that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. That's to be expected. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So freaking funny.
Yeah.
And I like dark humor. So.
Me too. Okay. What's a piece of advice you would give another woman who wants to get into theater or film?
Oh man. Ooh. Okay. So I'm gonna say my own personal thing I did, and the good and bad of it.
Okay.
My number one motivation is if someone tells me no, you can't do it, which is really, really great. But it can get you into some tight places too. So I think it's knowing. So I would reframe it as know who you are and your strengths. Trust in yourself and do what you can to, yes, acknowledge feedback from your peers, feedback from mentors, work with as many people as possible, and really, listen to what those folks say, but still check in with yourself. If something doesn't sound or ring or feel true, dive into the why, but trust yourself first, because everybody else is going to have their own viewpoint of you. And don't be afraid to create your own opportunities. Some of what has been the most inspiring thing of all the women I work with is how many of them realize how little of space has been made for women to exist. I could feel like I could say the same thing to people of color as well, different gender identities, the things that we all love ingenuity anyways. When we see someone that's like, I have a vision, I have a creative drive, I want to make something happen, and we see them create it, we're just like, oh, like, I'm so intrigued. How did that happen? And it consistently is always someone who was like, I'm making this opportunity for myself. Yeah. I mean, there's so many just actresses alone that I absolutely admire because they've gone, okay, I'm making this happen for me. And I'm going to see what I can do. Those are the people that I'm always wanting to work with, because I'm so used to, like, okay, I'm creating this project as a director, as a producer. It's exhausting sometimes because you're like, is anyone behind me, please? So sure. when you have those people that have a vision and you're like, I love you, I want to work with you, and I want to get behind you and support you. Yeah, it's inspiring. You want to be a part of that so much. So make your opportunities.
Yes. Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Oh man. Okay.
Such an annoying question.
No. It's a really great one. I'm that person who's like, what's your favorite book? And I'm like, can I have 10 books? But that's also not enough.
One, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean,
there are no rules here.
Yeah. Star Wars: A New Hope will always be influential for me.
Amelia's like Star Wars too.
I know. That's one of mine and Emmy's like big bond things.
I love it.
She came over to my house when we were doing rehearsals and was like, Star Wars. I was like, I know. But yeah, no, like Star Wars: A New Hope, like, is still seriously one of the most influential films, because that's what made me go, oh, what's going on? And fantasy and sci-fi and all that build. But one of my favorite films, and I'm grateful for a friend who, people were doing that, like, oh, what's your top 10 films and stuff. My friend Heidi, she had reminded me of The Fall, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I used to drag people over, sit them down on my couch and make them watch that film, because that's such a beautiful mashup of beautiful creative storytelling, with just such amazing heart. I love that. And you can even do simple ones too, where it's just like, when there's a good story, there's good heart, there's something that we go, oh, I as a human connect to it.
Yeah.
That's always the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Big softy.
Whatever. Okay. Well, you were talking a little bit about your, things that you're working on. Do you have anything else coming up that you want to shout out?
Yes. Not anything where it's like, oh, this is something you can watch right now. But I have, so there's an actress, another person who's like, I'm going to make things for myself. Brianna Knickerbocker. So she's someone who's making her own music videos in quarantine, which I'm like, how the heck are you doing this? I'm pretty stoked for her. We have a horror film that I'm in the process of editing. Nice. Just a short, and we've got like different script ideas for other ones. So I'm really excited about that. I came up with the idea of what does a Western in quarantine look like? So
That's cool.
I'm writing that.
Sounds.
Yeah. You know, sometimes the weirdest ideas come to your mind. Yeah. So that's so those are a few of the things, and then probably another theatrical internet show at some point. I'm just kind of waiting for the right project.
That's cool. I love that. I mean, I think anything that you make right now is totally.
Yeah. And if nothing else, I've got like 2 watercolor ideas. So if none of the theater film stuff works out, I'm going to go paint. So it'll be great.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming in and jumping on
Thanks for having me.
The gram.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna try and organize some sort of like watch party situation for August 11th.
Love it.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna make that happen.
Yeah,
digitally.
It might be one of those things where it's just like you have you can always have like a chat area where people can be writing as they're watching it. Yeah, because that way you don't have to worry about too many crazy voices and speakers and everything.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. We're working on some
I believe in you.
But thank you. I'm trying. All right, girl. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, we're going to have one of our actresses on, Dawn Noel, who plays Melanie in the movie. So we're really excited about that. And a couple of people have asked me how you can see the film. It's coming out on August 11th, and you can pre-order it right now on Vimeo, and the link is in our bio. So do it. All right, thanks.